All right, guys, welcome back to the Twisted Glass podcast. This is Rebooted, Revisited, Remastered. This week we watched the reboot, remake, reanimation of the new Animaniacs that came out on Hulu. Um,
Yes,
so that's been interesting.
that's been super fun.
I will say this with all honesty, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, were you scared?
I feel like I was actually I was a little scared. I was afraid that it wasn't going to be as good or live up to what the original did.
Mm,
Because rewatching some of the original, it feels it only feels dated because of the type of jokes that they have. Because they're very time sensitive and they're
right.
made in the 90s. That show, the original airing of
Mm,
Animaniacs went from 93 to 98.
yeah.
So significant time on television. Um we're getting our first taste of this new show or rebooted show animated for today's, I guess, platform.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu. It's for streaming. Full season just released, ready to go. And it's been fun. It's really interesting how like the meta humor is a part of this generation, and
Yeah.
how it can definitely feel very nostalgic in a lot of really good ways.
Right.
Any major thoughts or anything that you would like to point out in relation to the actual reboot?
I mean, it was like on point, the same style and humor as the original, which was really awesome. They didn't hold back on any of the jokes. They were very in your face about all of the jokes very early on in the show. They're just like, and fuck everything, basically,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And it was awesome to see them. And I even loved like in the reboot, they have that line. I think Yakko says it. How like, man, we're really carrying this reboot. I wonder what happened to everybody else.
Yeah.
Because we only had them
And
and Pinky in the Brain.
yeah, and there was only the one episode out of the whole new season that showed that squirrel, the chicken,
Yeah, like everybody from the
all the
original.
other characters from the original, and how there was that episode of them all being hunted, and there were the last three that needed to be hunted, and it was that fucking crazy ass chicken.
Yeah, it was dressed up as a
But
human
yeah,
with his tiny baby feet.
yep, they're normal. And there's the bun episode, which is about bunnies basically taking over,
Yeah.
and how it was basically just a whole fucking episode about how we need to have better gun control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a kids show. It's still a kids show, so they're not going to go too in depth. It's obviously going to be PG
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways. And when I say PG, that means like parental guidance is potentially needed to watch this show. And some of the stuff that I thought was really cool about it in relation to that was that they still used like words that whenever you were a kid you would still feel were
Mm-hmm.
kind of a little messed up or a little bit too adult. Hell, damn, crap, things like that, or variations of those. And there's even one episode where they basically get the guy that they're going against for the Olympics,
Yeah.
and he gets thrown to hell, like legitimately
Mm-hmm.
thrown into hell, and they say it. You've been like that type of stuff, and the demons that are there doing the scoreboard, they do 666,
Yeah.
and a lot of meta humor, and then they do it again later on, and that same character gets thrown to hell, and they do 665, and taking 1 point away because of the meta humor, and they do like the typical comedic thing where it happens in threes, and sometimes they do it three times real quick, or they'll do it three times throughout the season, or they'll do it three times throughout an episode, that
Yeah.
type of thing. and I always thought that was really interesting that you can see the timing and you can see how it works. Um, in comparison to the original, the original had, granted, it was on the air for how many years? It's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 years roughly, five
Yeah.
6 years, and within that time frame, they were able to create this bigger concept.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Pinky and the Brain. There were other characters, there were other spots, there were other um skits and stuff that they
Mhm.
could do. So it was a sketch comedy show in cartoon form where they would break the fourth wall. They were meta about their humor. They were very on point about the that time's issues.
Mhm.
So they were able to make fun of all of that stuff. And just like in this season, they made fun of the president, they made fun of Trump,
Yep.
they made fun of past presidents, they made fun of other countries and like the major stereotypes and things of that nature, from Russia to the Middle East to
Yeah.
everything. And they actually had to pull one of the episodes down I saw last night, where they had to pull one of the episodes down before it like a lot of people saw it, and they had to edit out a phone sex joke
Ah.
really quickly because it was too far over that edge,
Mhm.
so they would have gotten potentially fined or in trouble because of it. So that's pretty interesting. That I find funny
Yeah.
that they did that. But going and watching through this, there's a lot of adult humor, and they are very in your face about it, where they are actually targeting both the kids that are around now and also targeting the adults that are
Yeah.
well into their 20s and 30s who
Yeah.
grew up with these shows.
That was really cool. Is like, yeah, this it's a kids show technically, but they targeted heavily the original audience a lot, which was really cool.
Yeah. And rewatching the
Because
intro
like
to the
we're the ones
yeah,
that are more excited about it than kids.
right, cuz kids don't know what it is. It's they don't know what it is unless their parents have made them watch the original that's on Hulu. The 93 version's on Hulu as well.
Mm.
So both are available. And they're both presented by Steven Spielberg. They're both um they're both very I don't know, like it's just really fun to watch that show
Yeah.
because of all the little jokes and all the stuff. It was fun to watch it as a kid because there were 3 segments per show,
Mhm.
3 or 4 segments per show. The only thing that I wish that they would have done is they would have had more segments instead of it being, the Warner siblings, Pinky and the Brain,
Yeah.
Warner siblings. Before it was like Warner siblings something, Warner siblings, or it was Warner siblings for a large block and then another thing for the other segment,
Yeah.
that type of thing. And they just only did Pinky and the Brain.
Mhm.
And I love those characters, don't get me wrong, but seeing every single episode and watching every single episode, the second segment, except for one, was Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
One was about an alien that came to Earth, and a girl catches this alien from the sandbox
Yeah.
and treats it as a doll, and they're waiting for the captain, basically of the alien race, to tell them to come and invade, and they won't because he hasn't pushed the button yet.
Yep.
And they're really tiny aliens. They're about like 4 inches tall,
Yeah, which is
and
pretty
she's
great.
just running around doing stupid shit with it, making it feel inferior in many
Mhm.
different ways. And I thought it was cool. I
Yeah.
thought it was fun.
And again, like bringing it back to that line, I'm pretty sure they anticipated people wanting more of the old characters, so I feel like that's why they also included that line in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But think it was more like let's do season one like this with the siblings and Pinky and the Brain, because Pinky and the Brain is more like more of the most recognized characters from the show, other than the siblings. And then let's see how this season goes, and if it goes super well, then we'll include everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right. Because they already slated for the first 2 seasons.
Mm.
and season 2 comes out next year.
Yeah.
And I like how they were as on top of it as they could with current events coming from the
Mm.
election from 2016 and interference and the way Trump has been acting, just people. They even very subtly did the whole left first right thing in the theater episode
Yeah.
where it's the man spreading and how that's become a big deal.
Yeah.
And they even made fun of that because that has become something that people have complained about over the last 4 years, and they've started making this just about 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm.
So that I find really interesting is that it's as current as they can be with it with the animation and the writing process starting just 2 to 3 years ago.
Right.
So that I think is really cool. Um, Also with a lot of the stuff that they do at the end of the episodes, they're the last segments that they do. Those are really cool.
Mm.
Um, they even included a Christmas episode. No, not a Christmas episode. A Halloween episode
Yeah.
because it just this aired literally a month after Halloween, so it was easy to digest. And I think it was really cool because a lot of it was really like it was laugh out loud humor.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of slapsticky shit. It was a lot of really fun stuff that you wouldn't like. There's a difference between the humor that you get from like the Animaniacs show and like the
Yeah.
stuff that came out during that time, and that's including like the Looney Tunes spinoff that they did.
Mm.
They did the Freakazoid show. They did Pinky and the Brain, Pinky Elmira and the Brain, and they did a lot of different stuff like that. And you can see that as time went on near the end of they even did a movie
Mm.
for the Animaniacs for the first series
Yep.
that was supposed to air in theaters as a silver screen movie, but it got pushed straight to DVD or to VHS
Yeah.
at the time in '99.
I remember the movie. Yeah.
So it's really cool that people it's getting positive reviews, but there's the backlash where the backlash with it is people are like they're very like you said it the other day, they're very you can tell that they're very one-sided,
Mm.
very liberal. And it's like they always have been.
Yeah.
But
But now people get mad about that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So fuck
yeah,
them.
true. They do they get angry about those things and
If a
a
joke in
lot
a
of the
kid's
little
show makes you mad, like,
yeah,
how much of that thing are you?
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Fucking stupid.
It's just it is. It really is. That whole idea and thought process is kind of it's really asinine. I'm looking forward to season 2. It has made me want to go ahead and continue rewatching the original series and see how much I missed out on
Yeah.
as a kid compared to what I would watch now and understand as an adult. And
Yeah, I did that when they threw it up on Netflix. I didn't watch all of it. I watched most of it. And yeah,
yeah,
I was like, damn, this is funny.
yeah. Like it's actually really funny and I like how in comparison to other kids shows, a lot of the other kids shows that are out now are still doing that thing, but the animation is what kind of turns me off and turns a lot of people off from
Yeah.
a lot of the new stuff.
It just
So
looks
a lot of the
fucking weird.
well, it's just that they go with this. There's different animation styles,
Yeah.
and that's understandable. And just like anime, there's different animation styles that they
Yep.
have for different kinds of anime as well. For American animation, excluding excluding a lot of that stuff, is for the most part now it all looks the same.
Hmm.
It looks like it's done by the same company. It looks like it's done literally panel by panel by the same type of people from what I've seen, from stills to short pieces to just segments of their shows on YouTube or on Facebook and whatnot. and they are granted more exclusive, or not exclusive, more inclusive, there we go, to the audience in today's day and age. But
Mm.
what I really liked about this is that it was very, like you said, in your face, and it stuck to its original style. All they did was update it for an HD audience
Yeah, and
to
I
make
feel
it
like,
look better.
and when like the kid shows and stuff nowadays, they are inclusive, but they don't outright like say the thing. They just hint at it
Hmm. Yeah,
because if you know what they're talking about, then you're just gonna click in your head. Then the
right.
opening like song, the intro for Animaniacs, they verbally tell you, yeah, we love everybody.
Yeah, we're all inclusive, we're gender neutral, like all
Yeah,
that shit. And even then, I think it's really cool. They even brought back the Doctor Scratch and Sniff,
yeah,
or
for
whatever the
one
fuck his
episode.
name is, for the last episode.
Yeah,
And I thought that was really cool, because he finally got his like revenge.
yeah.
Um
The joke is on
there's some,
you.
yeah, and it's just really cool. Like a lot of the little subtleties, like as an adult, that you want to pay attention to because of the show that you watched as a kid, is is interesting. They even made fun of the whole idea of, I think it was Wacko,
Mm-hmm.
or Yakko. Yakko.
Yakko
Or was
Wacko
it
Madog.
Wacko? Yakko's the oldest.
Yeah, Wacko's the one
Oldest.
with like the deep British voice.
And he has the hat.
Yeah,
So Wacko Wacko is one of the characters that is personally my favorite, just because of how crazy and how interesting he is as a character,
yeah.
just in general. But he's also the most outgoing out of all of them,
Mm-hmm.
and the most comedic, in my opinion. Some of the funnier things that they do with him: he has a hat that he always wears. He wears his hat under a hard hat,
Yeah.
like under a safari hat. Like he's wearing his hat underneath his hats that he has to wear for the part that he's playing, and they never stray away from that. No one ever questions it.
Mm-hmm.
He takes off his hat like one time in the whole entire season, and then you got Yakko, where Yakko's character specifically is that person who is supposed to be like the moral high ground, but he's also they're all goofy.
Yeah.
They're all going to be goofy, like regardless, because that's the point of the show. But his like whole character is puns and just trying to play off of what other characters are doing.
Yeah.
And they even made fun of the whole idea of him doing that song for the all the countries
Yep.
in the world, and then also doing it for Yakko's world. And Wacko was like, that was supposed to be my song, and he stole it from me, and he's doing like that like sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
And they played more into them being siblings, and they played more into the, like, they played out ideas that they wanted to play out back then
Mm.
that they couldn't do for whatever reason. And we got to see the inside of the tower a lot more, like how they lived.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting too.
That was pretty
It
cool.
was it's it was a cool season. It was very nostalgic, very funny. Curious to know how, like, even how Ben would think about the episodes and how the show played out, because there are some things that they make fun of that are very not PC
Yeah.
in some aspects. Like, they they still make fun of the aspect of women getting, like, climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
They should be able to do it just with the ease as men do, but they make fun of the CEO of WB, or whatever she is,
Yeah.
the of that whole entire area. And some of the other things, the darker things that I've noticed, is that the original guy that they used to fuck with,
Mm-hmm.
his picture is hanging in the background, and reason to believe he's not alive anymore.
He might be
Like,
dead.
that's, he might be dead. And it's cool. It's just really cool, because looking back at the like lore, I should say, of these characters, specifically is that they were made back in the 1930s,
Yeah.
and when they were created, they were too insane, and that's like their whole thing is that they couldn't contain just how outlandish these characters are and how crazy they are.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to lock them up in the WB water tower.
And then they broke free.
And they finally broke free some years later, like 60 years later.
Yeah.
And again, another 22 years later.
Like,
And
hey.
it's kind of cool how they play off of the shit that they did back then
Mm-hmm.
now, and they're still able to make a successful animation for both kids and adults.
Yep.
I would I can't say anything bad about it. It was just really fun to watch.
It was really funny, really great. I can't wait for season 2. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's been it's been interesting. Do you have any other talking points or anything else that you wanted to touch on? Anything that really stuck out for you personally?
Nipples, man. Nipples. It's a very nipple heavy show.
Yeah,
Very
I
doorstop
feel
nipple heavy show.
yeah, and that's also playing into the things that we could get away with in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like
Slash things you can
it's
get away with because you're an animated show.
right, things that you can get away with as an animated show. They made fun of that Arnold Schwarzenegger Olympic dude.
Yeah.
Um fuck saying his name cuz it's super German or Polish, I don't know what he is. But it was just kind of funny because I just remember in one of the final episodes where they're trying to get the soda for the doctor. It is the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the, the Yakko is like, okay, what the hell is this basically?
Yeah.
And he's like basically moving his ass in a way that is very weird, very reminiscent of something that you would see out of the 90s,
Yeah.
and also very funny because you have no idea why they're making these movements or making this character and his body do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, this is weird. I have no idea. Can we just move forward?
Yeah.
And that type of stuff. And it's very reminiscent. And when I say the 90s, I specifically think of Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ren and Stimpy was one of those shows back then that really pushed the envelope for what it was like, what was allowed to be shown
Yeah.
on a kids show. And you knew that those people that wrote that show didn't want it to be a kids show. They wanted
Mm-hmm.
it to be for adults.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that really like resonated because when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed
To watch Ren
to
and Stimpy.
watch Ren and Stimpy that often. I would be able to watch it when either I was alone or I was at my grandparents when they didn't really give a shit what was being played.
Yeah.
Just as long as it wasn't too crazy. And that's kind of, I guess, where like some of the screwed up humor I get comes from because I wasn't allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy, but I was allowed to watch, you know, Animaniacs, Freakazoid. Also allowed to watch Beavis and Butthead. Not able to watch Beavis and Butthead, but I was allowed to watch South Park.
Yeah.
Like weird shit. But I look forward to seeing like a revival of a lot of these cartoons, a lot of these animated shows making their way back to television in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't necessarily need to be on cable, but if it was all streaming, fantastic. I'd be happy with it.
Yes. And like even in like in Animaniacs in the voting episode, yeah, in the voting episode, they had like all the WB characters. Like Bugs Bunny was there, Daffy Duck was there,
Yeah,
Porky Pig, everybody was there. They didn't
all
talk,
the
but they
Looney
were
Tunes,
just walking around.
all the
I thought
Looney
that was pretty
Tunes were
cool.
there. It was dope. That was pretty dope. They showed Wonder Woman. They showed Batman. They showed Superman.
Mm.
Once they didn't say that that's who it was, but you could tell. Um, they made fun of the whole idea of reboots in general because X Files came back, and a slew of other shows
Yeah.
from way back when came back. Gilmore Girls is another one, and it's really cool just to kind of see how like they're really trying to target and make like a generation that was kind of forgotten
Yep.
comfortable again, back to the way they like give them that comfort that they've been looking for with television as they were when they were kids and when they were younger teenagers, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see that change
I dig
or
that shit.
see the growth. Me too. I really do. The music was fantastic. I don't ever remember there being that much music in like the original.
Hmm.
But again, with rewatching and re-seeing a lot of the stuff, I'm pretty sure it'll be there and I'll be like, "Oh shit. They are actually the same."
Right. Agreed.
But with the same writers or most of the same writers and most of the same producers and well, Steven Spielberg at the helm and him being okay with doing this type of thing, I'm hoping that they bring maybe another season of Freakazoid, or they do a another Pinky and the Brain spinoff, so that they have their own show
Yeah.
and do their because each one of those shows was very segmented, segments, skits, sketch comedy, breaking the fourth wall.
Hmm.
All of them were very reminiscent. Like all of them were like the Deadpool of that time,
Yeah.
which is the type of humor. That's why I like Deadpool so much. And in that character is because they're able to break the fourth wall, and breaking the fourth wall to me is always never going to fail to be funny in
Right.
my opinion. And the way that they portray it, it's cool. I like it. I don't know. I can't like continue gushing about the show cuz every aspect about it was very funny. I liked it a lot.
It was fantastic. I highly recommend everybody watch it. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's it's pretty great. I like the character designs, and I like the revamp of the character designs compared to the original, doing a side by side comparison. It's it's really interesting how they can stay so true to the original design but just make them look better.
Yeah.
The the opening song or the opening the opening to the show, the theme, there are some differences. They do point out at the beginning of the original, whenever listening to the original theme song, they say that Dot is literally there just because she's adorable, like
Yeah.
she's cute. And like in the new one, she's more vocal
Yeah.
and very very outward feminist, very strong woman oriented,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool because she was like that back then, but they couldn't like super emphasize it,
Yeah.
and now they could, and they can't trouble.
True. Very true.
Any other talking points or anything? Oh, the anime episode.
Yeah.
They're like two anime episodes that they did.
Those are pretty cool.
What are your thoughts?
No, they were good. They had good animation style to it. I didn't mind it. It was a jarring at first. I was like, "What the fuck? Cool." And I was like, "Yeah, anime."
Where they fought the gun dude,
Yeah.
the bun dude,
Bun. Yeah. Bun control. I'm a
and
responsible
then
bun owner. You can't do it. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Get out of here.
the dingoes. The dingoes were funny.
Yeah. Ow. My heart.
That shit was hilarious.
This is the
What else
podcast
happened?
where I die live.
Nope. Nope.
Yep. Live on video, John, I'm gonna die.
Nope.
I'm just gonna dead.
But it was cool. Um, they did the kawaii episode, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
Called that shit like right off the bat. She wanted everything to be adorable, and then she ate the cupcake as it was screaming for its life. So dark humor.
Yeah.
Um,
Dark humor.
and then everything turned really cute and adorable, and they did a whole song about it. And then weeks had gone by, and they're tired of it, and they're going crazy and insane because they can't handle it being this cute, and then they have to figure out a way to get it to go back to normal. and they had to lick the pigeon.
Did it lick the pigeon? I
They
forgot
had to
about that
lick the
episode.
pigeon to go back. Yep, they had to go back to normal to lick the pigeon, and then it caused the whole tower to puke all over the rest of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned everything back to normal
Yeah.
because not everything can be adorable and cute.
Facts.
It's a super fun show.
It is. Like,
It
go watch it.
it's a super fun show. There's a lot of stuff for everybody. I liked it.
And if you're mad at it, you're a bitch. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cartoon, it's a kids show. They had it's just funny cuz they really outdid themselves, and I'm hoping that it
Mm.
continues to I hope they get another 5 years. I hope
That'd
they
be
get
dope.
these 2 seasons, and then after that they get another 2 seasons, and then they get another 2 seasons, and they get a total of 6 seasons, and hopefully they get their own, you know, straight to Hulu or Netflix fucking movie,
6 seasons in a movie.
so that people 6 seasons in a movie. That's not going to happen with Community,
Nope.
but
Yeah, that's
looking
about it.
forward. That's it, really.
Yeah, it was dope. Go watch it. That's all we can really say about it without going through every episode, just telling you the episodes. Go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. Go enjoy it. Have the have the childlike wonder that you had as a kid, but also try to remain an adult with it,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of adult themes that help kids understand like the severity of a lot of shit that's happened in the world. And for all we know, the next season's gonna have something to do with the fucking virus
yeah,
and quarantine and the election, more so than what it was in this season.
yeah.
How, like, fucking back then it was Bill, literally they were a show for as long as Bill Clinton was in office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shit's insane to me. Bill Clinton was our president when the last time we saw these fucks on TV.
Yeah, we were children.
Yeah, fucking crazy. That's the thing that blows my mind. It's cool. I can't say anything bad about it. It's very reminiscent of the old shit. Um, Makes me a little sad that it was only Pinky and Brain as the second segment, but again, I'm sure they had to have a way to bring everybody back
Mm-hmm.
properly. And I love Pinky and the Brain as characters. I feel bad for Pinky more now that I'm an adult because he's just a fucking goofy, fun-loving dude
Yeah,
who just sees Brain as his friend and just wants to be like accepted,
yeah.
but he does what he does because he has to. And Brain loses all the time.
He does. Facts.
All that he always loses. And if he didn't, there wouldn't be a show.
Yeah, they would have taken over the world.
Yep. It's just really cool. I like it a lot. I can't gush. I can keep gushing about it and just keep talking.
Yeah.
The last few episodes that we've done of this, last two were horror movies. It was good to get away from that and talk about a cartoon that was from our childhood that is now.
Yeah.
What do you think we should do for the next one?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we go into the realm of video game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. I've if you're Resident Evil.
You want to do the Resident Evil?
Yeah,
So
you talk.
you're gonna make me do a lot of research.
I'm gonna make you do a lot of talking too.
It's gonna be amazing. Am I gonna be like instructing a class in the next episode? Is that what's gonna happen?
More likely, I'm gonna finally be quiet for the next episode.
But which one? Because three of
And
them have been remade.
you could do the most recent.
The Resident Evil 3 remake?
Yeah, since you've played it recently, you have it fresh.
Yeah.
RE3, RE3 OG from RE3 New G
I want to do some cool
comparison.
shit for this now. I need to get game footage. I hate you. Make me do so much work.
I'm not trying, but I mean, I gushed
You
and
did.
talked about this season. It was a nice, safe place to be for the time being. I guess is the best way to say it. So we're
Gotcha.
fucking on another lockdown,
Yeah.
and we slowly open back up on Wednesday. So
This is what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna do next week Resident Evil 3 remake analysis compared to the original for the podcast.
okay,
But we're gonna do a thing that we've talked about for a while, where you sit down and play a Resident Evil game, and I watch you play.
God, you're gonna hate it.
We're gonna do that some point this week.
Okay,
We're gonna
you're
stream
gonna
it.
hate it.
We're gonna make a videos.
Okay,
You can't be any
you're
worse
gonna
than
hate
Ben.
it.
You cannot be any worse than Ben. You
Oh, I suck at
cannot
this game.
be any worse than Ben.
I will be. I'm not gonna be scared. I'm just gonna be very bad.
You can't be any worse than Ben.
I will be really bad at those games.
I'm gonna make you play the originals. We're gonna put the
I'm gonna hate every minute of it.
we're gonna put the PS2 in the living room. We're gonna hook it up, get everything there, and be like, go.
You're gonna hate it. I'm gonna hate it. The gameplay.
It's gonna be super fun.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
See how that goes. But yeah, so next week, Resident Evil 3 remake. I will be talking a lot. Like I'm gonna have sheets like on my screen. So I'm like boom, 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 bam.
When does RE8 come out?
I don't fucking care.
You should.
Let me see. Let me see. That's porn. There we go.
That's beep.
2021. That's it.
When in 2021?
That's all I said was 2021.
That's all it said.
Yep. It's planned to
RE.
sometime in April, according to leaks.
Yeah. Comes out in a couple months.
Woo!
We'll be a year into the pandemic, and you'll be able to play a game about a pandemic.
Woo! This game better be fucking good. I swear to God. Anyway, we're going on a whole different ass tangent.
Yeah, we are. But thank you for tuning in. Follow our socials, all that shit.
Yeah, links and descriptions and stuff. And
Put
yeah.
the link of the Discord. Follow our Twitches. Start back up on the 1st of December.
Yeah, that's you.
And hopefully I can go back to the gym soon.
Hopefully.
Because I'm getting chunkers again in 2 weeks.
Just start doing sit-ups and push-ups, man.
That's what I'm going to do.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Goodbye, everybody.
Deuces.